Hey everybody, Coach Toolshed here, and today I'm going to be talking about season passes and why you should never, ever buy them again in your entire life because they are hot, steaming piles of garbage. And we're going to be looking specifically at Far Cry 5 from Ubisoft and that hot, steaming pile of garbage DLC that they just dropped on us. The final one came this past week in the form of dead living zombies, and let me tell you what, it is just a perfect way to cap off this season pass that has just been an unbelievable example of why you should never put money down when these companies try to sell you these extra editions. Prime example right here from Ubisoft. Thank you so much. So, when you look at this collection, what you are going to see is 3 separate DLC that were sold as part of the Gold Edition, which you could get for the low price of $90 US. Fun fact, if you bought all of these garbage DLCs separately, you would actually still pay $30 a la carte because that's how it's priced. So you actually didn't even save any money by buying the DLC ahead of time, which is one of the points of a season pass, is that you get more content for less price. But not here. No, Ubisoft made sure that they priced it. You get a $12 price point for the first one, a $10 price point for the second one, and an $8 price point for the last one. So you are still spending $30 on this garbage. Now, why is this garbage? Well, the first DLC was called Hours of Darkness, and it was based in Vietnam. And you are a soldier whose helicopter has crashed, and your goal is to get out of the jungle at the drop zone and get out of Vietnam. That's literally your only mission. They start you off with one mission, you crash, you get a weapon, and they say, okay, they mark it on your map, get here. That's it. You could just walk in a straight line and avoid combat and complete the whole thing. Just get to the final mission, kill all the enemies there, and you're done. That's literally all it is. Now, you could take your time and go through the map and do all the little side content, but there's literally one mission in the entire DLC. Just to get to the drop zone and kill everything there. And you're done. People have beat it in a matter of a few minutes. You can beat the entire DLC in a few minutes. Under an hour, easily. If you so desire. Now, you could drag it out, and of course, in typical Ubisoft fashion, there's outposts to take over that unlock different markers on the map, and there's, all these hidden crap that you can find all over the map, because typical Ubisoft, they just can't leave that stuff out of the map. But at the end of the day, Hours of Darkness, not really. You can get out there in under an hour, and you're done. And the setting's all right. It looks all right. The gunplay is fine, because they usually do that fine in Far Cry games, so it's not a problem with the gameplay. It's just that there's nothing there. There's nothing there. And the worst part is, this is the best one out of all 3 DLCs. Hours of Darkness is, for me, hands down, the best one. And it's still terrible. For the $12 you could spend to play this, there's a lot of indie games you could get for $10 and have more fun playing. And this was made by Ubisoft Shanghai, which has hundreds of people working there. It's over 400 people that work at this development studio. And this is what they came up with. One mission. Okay. And let's move on to the next one. The next one was called Lost on Mars. Now, I am not exaggerating when I say the Lost on Mars DLC for Far Cry 5 is the single worst piece of gaming content I have played in 2018. And we're in September now. So the year is not fresh. I'll say that again. Lost on Mars is the worst gaming content I've played all year long. It's horrendous. They should be ashamed of putting out this content. It's ridiculously bad. I'm ashamed that I played it. In fact, it's so bad, I don't even know why I'm going to bother getting into details, but I'm just going to give you a quick overview. So basically, they ripped 2 of the side NPCs out of the base game, Nick Rye and Herc, because of course Far Cry has to throw Herc into every single game, as if do people enjoy Herc? I don't know, but Far Cry seems to think that they do. And so, for some reason, some unbelievably contrived reason, you're on Mars, and you're shooting things with laser beams, and you're shooting basically the same two enemies over and over and over again because they really put a huge budget into it, and basically you're there just turning on space stations, which are just towers that you jump to with a spacesuit, and it's boring as hell. There's nothing going on in the landscape. You see one spot, everything on the entire map looks the exact same. Everything looks the exact same. And you just go to these space stations and you turn them on. That's it. It's literally the entire game is you just climbing towers. That's basically all that's there. And it lasts a couple hours, and they're terrible hours. It's terrible to play through this. Once again, the worst gaming content of 2018, in my opinion. At least that I've played. It's horrendous. And that brings us into the abomination that came out last week called Dead Living Zombies, which you might have thought was a horde mode. It's not even really a horde mode. It's episodic. There's 7 quote-unquote episodes where you watch a little vignette of a failed film director who's trying to pitch ideas to producers about what zombie films to make. And you just go, none of them take that long to beat. They all take like, the ones that I played took about 10 minutes to beat. And it's just so bad. And there's bad dialogue over it. None of it's funny. You can tell they're desperately trying to be funny, and it's just not funny at all. And the whole time I'm sitting there, I'm just like, why am I putting myself through this? This is terrible. And this is the problem. This is the problem with season passes. And you want to know what? I'm at the point now where I don't even want to see DLC in a game anymore. I don't want to see it. How many people actually buy the DLCs and never touch it? Go into your achievement lists or your trophy list, depending on what platform you're on. Look at how many people actually go back and play a lot of these DLCs. It's far less than half, usually less than a third, usually less than 20%. Sometimes less than 10% of people go back and touch these DLCs because there's never anything good there. Far Cry 3 had good DLC, standalone, Blood Dragon. That was good DLC. And that's the only good DLC the series has ever produced. And people, they keep trying to pitch it. I say do away with it altogether. We don't need it. Stop trying to jam we need it for development costs. No, you don't. Stop developing this crap. This is terrible. It's a terrible waste of your time and money. It's a waste of my time. It's definitely a waste of my money to sit through this garbage. And I hope this serves as a warning to everyone, including myself. Never buy Season Pass, especially from these big companies. But you don't want to know what? Period. How's this? Just period. Don't buy a Season Pass for anything. Even if it's a game that you think you're going to enjoy, just don't buy it. Make the content come out. At most, you'll have to spend a couple bucks more when it actually comes out. And like I said, in this case, if there was actually a good piece of DLC that came out, you would still not spend any more money than you would have to buy the gold edition that it launched with. It still would be $30, even if all this DLC was awesome and everyone said you had to play it. Which, by the way, no one is saying that you need to play this. This is every single one of these 3 DLCs is worse than the last. Well, I take that back. The second one is the worst. But all 3 of them are horrendous. The first one, Hours of Darkness, is the only one that is even remotely worth touching. And even that, I wouldn't pay money for it. If you got it for free, yeah, all right. You got an hour or 2, all right. It's okay at best. But I wouldn't recommend anyone spend money on it. And the other 2, honestly, pour some gasoline on just pour some gasoline on those 2 DLCs and burn them and hope that no one ever remembers that they ever existed. Because they're beyond terrible. So that's all I really got to say about this today. This is just use this game alone as a warning. to just don't bother dropping the extra 30, 40 bucks on this crap that they're trying to jam down your throat. Oh, and when they announced all this stuff, everyone's like, all the big sites, oh, this is going to be so cool. All the big YouTube channels, oh, this is going to be so cool. You guys remember Blood Dragon, how great Blood Dragon was? Yeah, I did remember, and that's the problem. I remembered that I really enjoyed Blood Dragon, and that's why I stepped into this bear trap of the season pass. Yep, once again, old coach, part of the problem. I apologize. Lesson learned. Especially from you, Ubisoft. You got me good here. And it's not just Ubisoft. I could go off even with companies that people respect, that no one ever says anything bad about, like Naughty Dog. I could do an entire video on Naughty Dog and their horrendous season passes that they've entirely screwed over their customers, and no one talks about that. In fact, maybe I will do a whole video on Naughty Dog. Yeah, Naughty Dog, the golden gods of game development. Yes, them too. So this goes across the board, as far as I'm concerned. In fact, I'm almost at the point now where I don't want to see any announcement of any DLC at all until we know that the game is out, that it runs right, and that people in general like it. I want these games to earn the DLC. This stuff we're seeing now with Spider-Man this week, where they're already announcing they're going to have 3 pieces of DLC before the year's out. Really, guys? Really? That's where we're at, too, with that? Yeah, just crank that out, too. I'm sure it's going to be high-quality content. Just crank that crap out, too. Unbelievable. I'm at the point now where I am almost saying I don't want to see any DLC unless the game has truly earned it. Say a year goes by and people are just fiending for new content from a particular game. Then maybe think about it. But I'm done. And only if it's like a true expansion of the game. None of this tacked on standalone crap. I'm done with it. Definitely not touching it anymore. Certainly no season pass. Because you're just going to get burned over and over again. And you end up not even saving any money. In this case, you don't even save any money. That's all I got to say. You guys enjoy yourself. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this holiday over in the U.S. If you're not on holiday, I apologize. I know it's Monday. But I'm going to enjoy the rest of my day. I'll talk to the rest of you guys later. And as always, I'm Coach Toolshed. You keep it turned to 11.